All right, good evening, everybody, post Valentine's Day. And I know we have our field trips going on, one tomorrow for the high school. I know we've got Nature's Classroom free from children tonight. So thank you for coming to the board meeting with your free evening for those of you.
I'm down one child.
I know, I'm down one.
Makes it 25% easier.
I'm down 2 tomorrow for a portion of the day, but it'll be exciting. So. So thank you all for being with us. And for tonight, just a quick rundown of our agenda. So we have a few minutes to vote on since we did a working session in January. We did December board meetings, so we'll just catch up with those minutes votes tonight. Of course, we'll always have a few minutes for public comment and allow for that 3 minutes if anyone so chooses to take that opportunity. And I'm going to make sure too I can see the chat just in case anybody wants to do that. All right, and then we do have a vote tonight where we will be adding a board member, so we'll come back to that vote soon. And then we will go along to our president's update, our principal's update, executive director update, which will include Patrice and Jared and Kathy giving us updates. And we will probably go light on the finance update tonight, unless there's anything financial we need to discuss, since Philip is not with us this evening. And if we've got Sarah tonight for PTO, I see a PTO owls on the Zoom. So that looks good. Like Sarah might be there to give us an update, which is great for PTO, always rocking and rolling with all the PTO things. And yeah, and then just a committee update, anything we're progressing on there that we wanted to discuss. And of course, Stacy will close us out, President's update. So I think that's it for tonight. Anything else? Patrice, I know you have a vote in there.
Yes, I do.
I have that recorded, so. And I do see Kevin joining us, so let me let him in. All right, so without further ado, our public, hi public out there, we welcome you to chat or raise your hand or let us know in some way, shape, or form if you would like to comment for 3 minutes, according to our guidelines. Leave that offer out there. Anyone? Okay, going once, going twice, and sold. All right, quiet group tonight. And all right, we will move right along. So we want to catch up on our meeting minutes, and we have we can just do those one at a time. But we've got our going all the way back to December. Can't believe it. We've got to approve our December 13th meeting minutes. We didn't do that because we didn't have the formal board meeting. We had the working session in January, so I wanted to go back to those minutes, get those approved. So any comments about the December meeting minutes? Should be there for everybody in board docs. By the way, just for the public's awareness, all of our agendas are always posted on board docs for our main meetings, so you can always check there and follow along. And that's linked out on our innovationmontessori.com site too. So
That's good. We have a motion.
Make a motion to approve the December board minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. All right, over to January's working session. Any comments, questions, concerns on those?
Make a motion to approve the January board minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, copy that right over.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Awesome, thank you. Ready.
I love board docs. So much easier.
It's right there, and we
Yeah.
go back in, we
So
click
nice.
approved, and then it
So
shows up to
nice.
everybody afterwards, so just,
Yeah.
also for public benefit, we approve the minutes, and then they show up, if you want to go back into past meeting minutes, they're available to you there, so. All right. So I do see Kevin is on the line with us now, so shall we go ahead and discuss our addition of our fourth member?
Yeah. Is there any other further discussion or any motions for the additional board member?
So just want to kind of publicly recap
Recap,
the
yeah.
process,
Yeah.
right, where we've been, so. We've kind of been on a journey throughout the year. In
Mhm.
particular, that is one of our published board goals, is to add a seventh board member, as well as develop succession plans for current board members. So those two kind of go hand in hand. We spent time reviewing. We got a lot of interest at the beginning of the year, more than I've ever seen, which was very exciting. So we had, 10, 12, people reach out with interest. We had follow-up conversations and saw resumes, cover letters.
Reference check.
Reference checks. We were able to have each of us, connect with people, have personal conversations. And then we had the time just a few weeks ago when we had the interviews for our final selected candidates for interviews. And that included Marissa Caravellis, Jose Rodriguez, and Madav Mera. So that's three that we moved forward to interview. And all of them had the reference checks that have now been completed. So I sent you that follow-up note. So we're all done with those. And that's kind of where we've
Yeah.
come at this point. So tonight we want to vote and settle on if we're voting on one member or voting on many additional members, or we're, what we're doing with that approach. So
I'm good with two.
Sorry, say that again.
I'm good with two.
I wasn't sure how we left that meeting the other night, if it was,
Yeah,
I thought we left with one. but-
one for
Okay.
sure, yeah. I think we're delaying the inevitable.
I think certainly we want to add one position. I think our challenge was just if we add a second position. What are we doing? Do we have the right skill set or the right need for that other role at this point, or were we, when we talked about having that participate in some other meaningful
okay.
ways to
Think
to
too,
do
like,
that?
think with there's some valuable training that would be able to take place over the next few months and before we have the next year, really, before we have the votes come up or we lose board members,
Yeah.
right? So
yeah, I think it's just a matter of if you're saying, a person go into the role and then the training then begins, or are we saying that, there was a continuation of work on committee and things like that to get ready a bit further, and then,
Yeah.
then we ensue with the vote at that point. But there's still a lot of steps, as I will
Right.
remind everybody, to onboard a new board member. So I mean,
yes, and the first year is
that does take some time, even just once we do agree
right, and
upon
the
a board
training
member.
that starts then, and that first year is requires a vote at the end of that first year too. Right, so it's
Mhm.
not a 3-year term, it is a 1-year term.
Correct. We are talking about a 1-year term, and then at that
Mhm.
point, we revisit at the end of the 1 year. Yeah.
So look, I'll put a motion on the floor that says we add a 7th board member position, and I'll nominate Marissa Caravellis to be to fill that role
Mhm.
as a board member at large.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank
Kevin.
you, Kevin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good with that.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries for our 7th board member to be Marissa. Welcome to the team, Marissa. I think she's on there somewhere.
Oh, I see her little.
Oh, yeah.
celebratory. Okay, she put a celebratory icon.
It's work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Are we gonna leave it at that?
That's
or-
that's where I stand. I
Okay.
mean, if we want to entertain another, certainly can put that on the table as well.
I would say, would love to just check back in with Philip.
Yeah.
And maybe we have a couple more conversations there
Mhm.
because, where there's a finance piece.
Right,
And
yeah.
it's really in the finance.
And we can
court.
have that, yeah, that finance presentation for the next.
Is
couple
Jose
months.
online?
I do not see Jose on the line.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean.
So then, yeah.
Whether or not he's here, I would say the same thing. I think my preference would be to see Jose. Let's give Jose an opportunity as a member of the finance committee
to present.
to come to this meeting for the next couple months and just
Yeah.
represent finance committee and during those presentations and just, spend some time with us. I know he spent a lot of time with the finance committee, but we haven't probably spent enough time with him. I think it'd just be good to exposure for him and for us and spend the next 30, 60 days on board and Marissa probably
Mhm.
can make a decision on adding another
Mhm.
member. at
Yeah,
that point.
we'll
So
have some time after the first.
That would
so,
be
yeah,
my
that would-
opinion.
I'm good with that as well. Especially with Philip being on the ski slopes, enjoying himself.
All right, so we'll follow up with Jose then in particular, okay? Okay.
So Marissa, here's your official swearing in, well, I guess we're now considering you a certified member of this team. So for the rest of this meeting, if you want to participate in the dialogue and discussions, you're welcome to do so.
Feel free to mute and come online.
Okay, awesome. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to talk. Thank you. I'm very excited.
You're welcome to say something.
Speech.
Yeah.
No, no, I'm really happy. I was getting a little nervous there as you guys were discussing, but I appreciate it. I'm excited to join the team.
Okay.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. Notes have been taken, so we're good there.
So go over to Patrice.
Over to Patrice.
Okay, so welcome, Marissa. And I know Kristen is always good about sending you all the different little things you have to do as requirements. And one of those things will be fingerprinting, and we'll be in touch with you about that as well. And they do a background check for you as well. So welcome aboard. So if you did not know, our consolidation was on the OCPS board agenda last night, and it was under the consent agenda. And Kathy went in today and saw that it did go through, so it has been approved. So our consolidation, I know. So as of next school year, we will then be under just one contract. We'll still have our corporations, but we will be under one charter contract for OCPS as a K-12 school. So that's very exciting. So go ahead. Somebody was going to say something? No. Okay. Construction update. I did forward you guys an update. I have even a bigger update to what's going on. This particular area at Fuller's Cross, where we have to tie into the underground sewer and the just make a small cut in the road and make this happen, has just really become even more problematic. We heard yesterday that the construction company, well, let me back up to fill you in. We did have the inspector from the county come out. He was examining the pipe. We were hopeful that we were going to be able to tie in a little bit of a different way. But unfortunately, as they were examining the county's pipe that we had to tie into, they discovered that there's 3 or 4 areas of leaks or repairs. And so now we have to replace that entire pipe. We've seen this happen when we were building our construction on North Lakewood. Unfortunately, right now, we were thinking that this was going to be like maybe another 50,000 added to MAC construction. Right now, MAC construction has given us a ballpark. Are you sitting down? Everybody's sitting down? $350,000.
What?
Yes.
Oh my.
It's a big what? It's on top of the 100. So it's not on top of the 100. Sorry, let me take that back. So MAC was coming in at about 100,000, which was already really high. Stacy's been a part of those meetings, and so she can fill you into that. They have always come in very high, and it's been very difficult to negotiate with them through Chad. Bottom line is now they yesterday pulled this on us and told us that the entire project for them to complete it would be 350,000. So there's a couple of options. Yesterday, when we did meet with Bob Z, who is our developer for all the underground work that we're doing. And he also and Chad talked about the idea of maybe looking for a different subcontractor. So that is one option on the table right now. We couldn't think of any other way to do this because if you remember, that property has a very narrow neck coming into the property. So there's not a place for us to maneuver that drive line. One of the things that did happen, it may be a Hail Mary. I like to feel like maybe it's a Hail Joseph, that's a little bit closer than a Hail Mary, but I heard from Mike Rumor finally about all the construction work that's at the circle that they're supposed to be completing at Fuller's Cross in North Lakewood, and found out that apparently there was some upheaval again on the construction company, and the developers had to pull together to form a consortium so that they could complete this work. And so that has finalized now, and Mike said they have been released and they are going to start mobilizing. The first thing they're going to be working on is completing the road work right there at Fuller's Cross and North Lakewood. So I said to the team, wondering if there's a chance that we might be able to ask those who are the construction people that are going to be doing this road work, hey, we're only 20 yards down the road. Can you do this small job for us? Because they're already going to be mobilizing. They'll already have all the asphalt there. Everything is on property right now, ready to go. So Justin, who is our project manager for Building Hope, he is now in the process of trying to reach out to that person. So this just happened in the last couple of days. And if I do get some updates, I won't wait for the board meeting. I'll definitely let you know. And Stacy again attends all those board meetings. But for now, we're all just pausing, hoping that we can come up with a solution to get this work finalized and completed. Questions?
So just to remind us all, like that pipe that we're trying to cut into is for drainage.
Right. It's all the, yep.
Runs the road that connects
Yeah.
from the main road, it runs underneath, yeah.
But
so
it's
then-
for our stormwater drainage.
Stormwater drainage.
And how much of it are we talking about having to replace?
the whole pipe
So
because
like
it's-
how,
For the county, from what I understand, because we were already replacing the one that was going to be parallel to a Fuller's Cross. That one was already a part of my understanding, that one is already a part of this replacement. Now this is the one that goes across Fuller's Cross. So this is one that is the county's pipe. And
how big is it we're talking about? Like
I don't know how big it is.
15 feet?
I would say Maybe closer. I would say if it's going across that road, and I remember on the drawings, it feels like we tie in really close to maybe about 1/3 in on the road. So maybe more like 20, Brett, I'm not sure.
So and we're talking about adding another $200,000 to the cost to the 100,000 we already had forecast
That we were
for
gonna
this, right?
add to get it fixed.
It's like $10,000 a foot to replace a pipe.
You got it. And it's everyone at the table recognizes that it seems like highway robbery. We even toyed around jokingly with getting children out there with picket signs from Mac Construction. But they also say that this seems to be the way in which construction companies are kind of running right now. They have so much work, so little labor, so much cost in being able to get things done, and they have no problem jacking up prices for small jobs because, again, in the big scheme of things, this is a smaller job for them.
Well, and Justin had asked Chad to reach out to the companies down at the end of the road
Mhm.
before. So it's good that Justin's now taking that upon himself to just do it because it hadn't been done, even though we had asked them to do that. So hopefully we will
But
have.
Chad can't get quotes from anybody else at this point, like.
That
seems like we've been having
that was
discussions
asked
about
as
Mac
well.
for
That was
a
asked as
few
well.
months, like,
Mhm.
No, and you know, one of the problems has been with Chad is that everyone he seems to know is the reason is always because they're on the East Coast. And so getting them to mobilize over here is not feasible. But right now, he is apparently, him and Bob are trying to, get together to talk about some people that they could get to, bid this out again because
gotta
this-
imagine Bob worked with a bunch of different construction
Especially in
companies
the
in town
area.
to do this
Yes.
kind of work. So like,
Yeah.
you'd think he'd have two or three off the top of his head. He could be like, oh, we'll talk to A, B, and C, but
no.
he doesn't have that, or he's just not.
No, he doesn't even seem to have that, and that's what's, a little bit frustrating about all this is I try to remember that everybody keeps talking about construction being such a tight, industry right now, and but it's not my wheelhouse. So, I'm just going on what they keep on saying. We've kind of, played around with some other options that didn't seem to, like one option that Bob did say is that sometimes what happens with these inspectors, they come out with just a mirror on a stick, basically, that they're bringing down into the pipe and looking at the pipe and inspecting it.
Yeah.
And he did say, for a couple $1,000s, we could video it and then and propose if through the video feed, it reveals that the pipe is really not that bad of shape, that we could instead line the pipe, and that would be a cheaper option. But right now they're trying first these other options because he didn't seem to be very hopeful that once an inspector determines that a pipe has to be replaced, he seemed to feel like it's hard to persuade them not to do it.
So we're at is it $200,000 variance?
Addition.
200
Yeah. Wait,
Addition.
100,000 was an addition on top of our original cost, though.
But we had
Because
already kind of baked that in at this.
at this point, we've
right?
added it into the calculations, but it was on top of the original number.
So my question is, if we add 200,000 more on top of that, where does that put all of our contingencies and that wish list of things that you have? Are we blown through that at that point, or like?
Yeah, and that's what I've talked to Jared today about, is that, that wish list for finishing off some of the things that we needed to get done, wanted to get done for IMO and IMHS would be off the table.
I have a contact that's owns a construction company, a general contractor. This may not be his specific line of work, but he's been around in Sanford a long time. We could reach out and see if he has other contacts they could bid on.
Absolutely.
And, if someone here could clearly articulate to him what we're looking for,
Mhm.
I can probably arrange a call.
Justin would
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, we can arrange that easily.
So, sorry, just
No, I know, this is a lot.
here, I think if we don't have another choice and $200,000 additional cost is the bottom line, what's the feasibility of that from our perspective? Is that even on the table for us? Or are we way out of bounds of budget?
It's squeaky, but it could do, but again, it's taking everything else off, you know, what we were planning to doing, and all contingency would be, you know, gone. But I will tell you, you know, that's the reason why I'm really, to me, it just makes sense. And it must have made a little sense to Mike Rumor that Mike Rumor even sent me the contact for these people that are on the corner. Because I had told Mike what was happening yesterday. And so he sent me their contact. I sent it to Justin. Justin said he's going to get on it. I'm going to certainly follow him up with him tomorrow. It just seems like they're already mobilizing. The biggest issue that they're doing right now is asphalt in that area, because I kind of off-road and went onto the property looking for somebody yesterday. I was like looking for anybody in the trailers, but all the trailers and they've already completed a lot of the streets right there.
Mhm.
It's just they have not connected it to North Lakewood and Fuller's. So anyway, that's my hope right now.
What costs so much here? Did the MAC give you any idea? Is it the asphalt that's so expensive?
No, and that's the biggest piece that, you know, right away, Chad said, you know, in the call that he told Mac right up front that I don't see how you're going to bring me anything that's going to justify this cost. And, you know, Bob said the same thing. So what supposedly Chad was supposed to be doing today was supposed to be going back to Mac and saying exactly where are you pulling this number from? You have got to give us more information than that.
We need an itemized list.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of construction companies don't do that.
Right.
But they're not gonna give you, I mean, they gotta give you something that says, hey, this is, you know, your asphalt's gonna cost you 50 grand, labor's 100 grand. They should be able to give you some indicator of like what's driving the costs. That just seems, you can't just throw.
Well, I think the
$200,000
pipe
budget.
too
I don't know,
itself
like-
was like a costly piece in it, that they were gonna have to replace because it had to be replaced instead of just add to it. But
Okay.
seems high.
Absolutely.
How, so like, I know we like on our wish list of stuff, we had like signed a contract, I think, to build the deck, the walkway out here. Would that take that stuff off the table? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's unforeseen now, you know, exactly how much, because one of the things that
Potentially.
even with the wish list, Justin still had some contingency, you know, and then we were finalizing everything with the high school. So we were also in the middle of finalizing all these numbers, and I knew that he had still some contingency. So I'm expecting at tomorrow's meeting, we're going to hear more exactly where we're at financially. And like I said, I'm more than happy to send everybody, and Stacy, of course, will be at the meet if she can be at the meeting, but I'm happy to send everybody an update.
okay.
No fun.
Further discussion on that or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so on better news, the executive director search is in process, and so that's moving along. Ray and Associates and I attached the timeline for you guys so that you guys could have it, just to know what we're doing. And so that's moving along. In contact with her a little bit. There's been some people on Indeed and LinkedIn that we advertised
Mhm.
AMS and IMC as well as Indeed and LinkedIn. And so periodically I go through those list, the ones that are on Indeed and LinkedIn. Indeed, I can look through and I go through that list, and anybody who's seems like they have the right qualifications, I've, notified them, made sure they understand that they're not applying through Indeed, because that's often what they think they're doing, that they're not applying through Indeed. They have to make sure they read the advertisement carefully and they contact Ray and Associates. So there's been a couple people that we've caught in that way that are local. So that will be something to see what happens with them.
So
Go
if
ahead.
we find candidates through Indeed or LinkedIn, we're sending them to Ray.
Yeah, because Ray's
Yes.
gonna do all of the preliminary, like reference checks and everything.
They'll do the legwork with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought part of it was they were gonna go, be able to go search through their network of people and help us find candidates versus.
Oh, they're doing that too, Brett.
of
Yeah,
that.
that's just an addition.
I wouldn't want to
Do the
pay
same.
them the
Yeah,
kind of money we're
that-
talking about,
that
just to
we're
screen,
actually
just
getting-
if we're gonna go find the candidate and we bring somebody to the table, like, I don't, we
Yeah.
wouldn't want to.
No, they're still going to do all of that legwork. And in addition
Yeah.
to, I think I saw like 12, even just on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Applicants that had been like come in, but it says on there to then go to
Yeah.
Ray on the advertisement.
And what are the next steps in the timeline? So we're still just sourcing. They're just,
So the timeline, I made sure I had it available here. So the timeline, the next steps are going to be that the deadline is going to be February 26th. And at that, they are supposed to have all their information into Ray's. They're supposed to have their references as well as the video by then. And then they will send to Stacy and myself the completed applications for us to kind of review. They will then also give, let's see, they're going to screen and then, I see what happened. Then we will give them 8 to 10 candidates to screen and vet further. That's on March 6th.
Are they not doing the first round of screening for you?
They're
We get
going-
100 candidates, are they gonna weed out those 100 to make sure they give us?
Yes,
Yes,
that
actually
meet the
our criteria?
qualifications that we have.
yes.
But then we get the resumes and the recommendations from them to like narrow the list down to what we are really looking for. And then they're gonna do those first rounds, give us the feedback on
Yeah.
it. And then we would move
And
into,
honestly, I would have wanted that anyway, because we're so unique. I wouldn't expect them to
Mhm.
be able to really like maybe catch somebody that we might be interested, that they might not have understood why we would have been interested in them. And then the interview for the top candidates is scheduled. It's optional right now, but it's scheduled for the week of March 20th.
After spring break.
So you're gonna look at 8 to 10,
I'm gone weeks.
then interview top candidates meeting, you guys will narrow it down to a top 3 or 4 or something like that.
Then pull the board in for 5 rounds.
okay. Yeah. So it might be the 20th or maybe the week following with the board.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Mhm.
The second round that they have down would be the week of the 27th.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then we're still like back on our time frame, really, of like hopefully narrowing somebody
Yeah,
into a position
yeah.
in April, right? That was our goal.
Yeah.
So
Cool, okay. Good, great, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so then the next piece of information is about the legal update to HB 1467. And you may see that Ariel Schmidt is on this call, as she probably almost all the time is on. And I'm thrilled to have, hopefully you read through all that HB 1467 on curriculum transparency and some of the things that we're going to be needing to do to catalog our books, and some of the changes that we first thought we were going to have to do this and now we're going to have to do that. And so we will explain this also to our parents at some point in time. But good news is Ariel is going to be our media specialist. So she's going to be doing some work for us. She is a certified media specialist with the state. So we are thrilled. As you know, she is always the one spearheading our book fairs for years, and she knows her books. And so we have also participated in a couple of meetings with OCPS as they have been meeting to work through the requirements of this legislation. And we had a great meeting that Ariel also participated in with the director in that department at OCPS, and she was incredibly helpful. And just explaining sometimes, we're hearing a lot out there in the media, and as we know, and we've seen this before, sometimes, it's not always correct. And OCPS seems to have a very measured approach to this. They're going to do what they have to do within the new statute to make sure we're in compliance, but we don't have to go overboard, obviously, so Ariel will also be a big help in that. And Ariel, why don't you show us your beautiful face and everybody can see you and wave to you, because we're just thrilled that you're volunteering. And if you can't hear me, oh, there she is. There she goes. Yeah. So we really appreciate Ariel jumping in like this, and she's really doing a lot for us to kind of meet this requirement. And we've also purchased, Ariel, I forgot the company. What's the name of the company again?
Alexandria.
So we purchased Alexandria for the cataloging that we're going to be doing. So we'll have a digital catalog of all of our books, something Ariel has been bugging me for some time that we need to do. And so this is definitely something we needed to do it anyway. And now it's going to get done. So we're excited. Any questions about that? I know I gave you a lot of information on the report. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you for taking that on, Ariel. I know it's going to be an endeavor for this summer and as you're working on it, but it's greatly appreciated.
Okay, so if there's no other questions, then I'm going to skip a little bit. I just wrote a little bit about some of our summer plans. I just got, in good news, I just got also report today that our math STEM camp for middle school was approved today, as well as our enrichment camps for first through high school. We have our enrichment team that's put together 5 different camps. And I have Yemi Thasman and Natalie McIntosh that have put together a really great math STEM camp for middle school. So we are really looking forward to that. We may bring some of that into the high school. We just haven't figured out all the ins and outs of that, but those have been approved. We also will have the academic bridge camps for IMO as well as IMHS. Therefore, to all my public, the typical camps that we had 3 or 4 years ago where we were charging people, we won't be holding those right now. We may be using some of our base personnel to really support these camps, because we will have a lot of work to do just to support these particular camps. But we're excited, and it's going to be a busy summer keeping track with all of them. Any question about the camps?
No, this is a great opportunity for our students to, make some progress over the summer and close some of the gap from, the pandemic. So thank you for everybody who's working on this part. This is a huge, huge benefit for our students.
I think so. I'm going to skip the highlights just for a minute if we want to go straight to the vote that we do have tonight. I've mentioned this way back last spring, that the state had decided that charter schools needed to put together a comprehensive policy package that combined a lot of updates within the Florida statute and the rule 6A-1.0018. I've tried to remember it, but not quite there. So the district finally released a template based on what they knew that the state needed us to do. As you've seen in the attachment that I provided you, we'll need board approval of both of these. You can know that we basically are just following through with everything that OCPS is doing. The only thing that we don't do with them is we have our own mental health plan. But that's the only call out on the template that's different from what OCPS is doing to make sure they have satisfied all the requirements under this rule and statute.
Thank you for including those for us to preview.
Yeah. So I just need a vote tonight to approve them. And then I think, Stacy, there's a place for you to sign them. And then we would sign them and submit them.
Sounds
Any
like one of
questions
those
on
ones, Mr. Kevin's really good at making motions
Motions
for.
for, yeah, it's been quiet tonight. We'll put a dork. He's in here somewhere.
I made a second.
Well, the motion.
We need a motion.
All right, I'll move to adopt. Patrice, is your preference that we do these separately, or I mean, they're the same for two schools, I think, right?
Yeah, they are the same for two schools. So that's up to you.
Yeah, I'll move to adopt that form for both IMO and IMHS as presented in the packet.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay.
Okay, I'll second that.
All right, we have a second from Brett. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Patrice.
You're welcome. And what I was going to say, Kristen, if you want to just take that long title that the OCPS included, that would be great, just to put that, that's what we just approved. I appreciate it.
Mhm.
And so now I'm going to take a little mini break, and I'm going to pass this over to Kathy, and she'll pass it over to Jared for just some highlights from the schools.
Hello. Lower Ellen Primary, all doing great. Upper L recently this morning went off to Nature's Classroom, our 6th grade group, all very excited, heading off at 7:30 this morning. And they seem by all accounts to be having a ball already. Middle school had their first worthwhile Wednesday with the food drive, and the proceeds were delivered to the church next door to the primary building for their food pantry. And Pastor Ariel was very grateful for our contributions. I had the pleasure of attending our first ever Somebody Special dance on Saturday night. It was absolutely delightful, and a massive thanks to our PTO and all our parent volunteers. Honestly, it was just top class, and everyone had a ball. Trying to think what else. I think that's really it. Everything seems to be going along well. We just finished our progress monitoring 2. We're continuing to do access testing for ELL students. And before you know it, we'll be into progress monitoring 3. So blink and the school year is over. A reminder to everyone on here that we do not have to do hurricane makeup days. So we will be closed on Monday for President's Day. And that is all from me for now, unless anyone has any questions that I can answer.
More smooth transition with second time fast test.
Honestly, Stacey, yeah, it went more smoothly because we knew better what we were doing. Natalie Huff, our testing coordinator, together with Stephen and all our teachers, did a phenomenal job of getting it done. On the record, it continues to be a massive heavy lift. Our progress monitoring now is like FSA 3 times a year. We do struggle with the device situation. Because we just, as a school that doesn't have children working in abstraction until they get to 4th grade, we tend to not have one-to-one devices for elementary. So cycling all our children through 2 different tests at that grade level is, the VPK through 3rd grade is a challenge. And ultimately, the only way we could really figure it out was to make a testing lab in the multi-purpose room, which of course is very disruptive to learning. In the past, map testing would have taken place in the classroom, and we just cycled the devices through suite to suite. So it's a much more formal feeling test right now. So it continues to be a heavy list. Another thing to note, I don't know if I shared in our last board meeting, is that with FAST, they're testing children even at the beginning of the year for end of year grade level. So it's a little demoralizing, I think, for the children. Like, take, for example, third graders sitting to that test in August, being tested on content for the end of third grade. That is tough for them. So we're seeing progress as we move through. I had to do a correlation between MAP and FAST, but because of what they're testing, it's quite a different animal. It's impossible to do. I do see growth looking at our third grade group. I think where we had, and they had said, expect that most of your children are not going to do great, obviously, in PM1, because we're testing them for content they haven't even been exposed to yet, which of course makes not a lot of sense. Where the level 1, which would be the failing grade, scores were a much higher percentage than they are now. So we're seeing the percentage of passes going up. But I just wonder what, I worry about what it does to the children to sit to tests that they're struggling at. In Montessori, we say never set a child a task at which they cannot be successful. And that seems to be exactly what's going on with this progress monitoring.
Is there any pieces of information that the teachers are able to glean from it to help guide instruction?
That would be illegal, Stacey.
Yeah.
So I'm joking, but really not, because they have everyone now, even for progress monitoring, do that test security course. So it just feels very intense, and teachers are of course discouraged from looking over shoulders, so that they're not teaching content that's going to show up on the test.
Right, but like the feedback, so once they take the test and the results that they're getting, are they able to use any of the results, or is there such a delay in the results that it's not even effective for
So the data we're getting back from FAST is not as useful as the data we were getting back from MAP, in that it's not disaggregated in the same way. It's a bit more general, and it's not, to repeat myself, not quite as useful. Also, testing children on end of year content in August and January doesn't really give teachers a whole lot of guidance, because they're testing on stuff that they haven't been taught yet. So it's hard to gear your instruction to anything other than the plan you were marching towards anyway.
Oh, that's frustrating. Thank you.
Is the FAST test is a static test, so to speak, right? Or like, is it similar to MAP, where it's like dynamic based on your responses? It will.
Yeah, it was marketed as adaptive.
Okay.
But I don't see evidence of that. That's not to say it's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, if they were making it dynamic like that, you'd think they'd ask if they're testing you on end of year stuff, start asking that later as you answer questions. But like, if they're leading. Yeah,
it's crazy stuff. Like when we were looking at percentiles, everyone who was a level 1, the failing grade, like that was in the 50th, 49th percentile in some classes. We're just that sample of children were not passing the test. Again, like I said, I hate that it demoralizes teachers and students.
It's not a tool. Okay. Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Over to Jared.
All right.
Over to Jared.
Yeah, my turn. So I just jotted down some notes of some things I wanted to share. 14 out of our 16 seniors this year have been accepted at least one college or university. Several have been accepted to multiple schools, so that I have choices to make. We have one student who's planning to go to seminary, one student that's going to take a gap year and then enroll in fall 2024. Those acceptances represent public, private, 2-year, 4-year, in-state and out-of-state. So we kind of have run the gamut with regards to acceptances to college. One of our seniors, Kelly Johnson, was recently published in a book titled American High School Poets, spring 2023. This book is a collection of poems from high school students from around the country, and it's available for purchase on Amazon. That'll be something that we add to our school library. We have a garden project that's underway at the high school that we've started. We've gotten lots of donations. We're in the process of adding a shed because we need to be able to house all of the equipment. That project upon its completion will include chickens, which we actually got the chicken coop delivered this week. So we'll have chickens on site, and a group of student volunteers who will be our chicken care team. So they'll be taking care of that during,
Yeah, those guys.
yeah, they volunteer.
CCT.
Yeah, they have volunteers, and we actually had a lot of interest in that.
I love it.
We're also going to be adding some raised beds. We have a student who, as an Eagle Scout project, has chosen to build some garden, like raised garden beds for our campus. And so we'll be doing that. We've added a path that we're going to line with some plants. And we're going to be installing the legacy trees for last year's graduating class. So 10 trees to represent those 10 seniors who are our first graduating class. So that project is happening now. And it should take us a few months to kind of.
Where do the trees go?
They're gonna go in the, let's see, directionally,
In the back?
southeast corner.
Mhm.
So, and there's also a little pond that's gonna be
Yeah.
installed there as well.
In the back?
In the back,
Yeah.
yeah. So we do have that big backyard area. We had plenty of space to be able to add this garden project. So
Cool.
That's great.
we're excited about the progress that we've made so far, and you know what this will be for us in the future too.
Mhm.
Today was our February Community Day for the high school with a focus on friendship. We had a bunch of different themed activities. Students were making friendship bracelets and bookmarks. We had a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. We had one student who was providing relationship advice. I think kind of
Stay with
satirical
myself.
approach. It was all in good fun. The students really enjoyed that.
Sure.
We had students that brought in their personal instruments and lots of guitars and other instruments, and they played music. Kind of just had a jam session. That was neat too. So yeah, as I walked around and as I, you know, once my refereeing of the basketball tournament was done, I had a chance to walk through some classrooms and see students really enjoying themselves. And the teachers really seemed pleased with how everything was going for today. So it's always nice to have those community days where the students get to really exist in community. That was a lot of fun. And then tomorrow, we have 130 students and staff who will be traveling to Kennedy Space Center for our second big kind of school-wide field trip of the year. First one was a great success. We're hoping for a great experience for all of our students who are going and staff. For many of them, this will be the first time going to Kennedy Space Center. So it'll be a neat experience, a first time experience for many of them. So I'm happy that we were able to provide this opportunity and hopefully build some connections. We have a student who's got some connections with Kennedy Space Center, and you know, family that works on that property. And so we're going to try to build some relationships there with, you know, for them students to be able to do some future projects with them.
Nice.
So that's what I got.
Awesome.
Except one thing, Jared, we forgot to mention, not only all the high acceptance to the colleges, but several of them have significant amount of money. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wanting to kind of do a tally of how much scholarship money has been offered, but I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So maybe by the next board meeting, I'll have kind of a quick tally of how much money our students have been offered in scholarships.
I know, I was impressed. Yeah. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So any questions about finance this month? Since Philip is not present, but he did send out his regular documents to us.
Yeah,
So
okay.
anything we need to discuss or?
I didn't look at it, the documents that he sent, but I mean, Patrice, I'm sure you probably know, are we
Yeah, we're in,
old? Are we over?
no, we're in good shape right now. We, you know, have We've had lots, we are having conversations around the next steps for planning the budget. So we're in that, budget planning for 23, 24, in that stage, just beginning and just starting. So, but other than that, no, there was nothing really that has been standing out. Again, there is some money and ESSER money that's going to sunset in September. And so that's some of the money we're going to be targeting this summer to use that money. I think we overall, just talking about ESSER, from what the feedback we're getting from OCPS, we seem to be a school that is definitely using our money. There's a lot of money on the table that I think some schools are leaving because I don't know why, it's
Work. Somebody's got to put the work in.
yeah, but we're making use of that money, so that's good. So that's really about it, Brett. Nothing else that I think that stands out to me.
If we were trending favorably for the year, that might help offset any other
Not
damage.
$200,000.
I don't know that much, but yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see, PTO Owls. I see PTO Owls. Sarah, are you there? Would you like to do your update?
Hey guys.
Hi.
Oh, all right. So, just like Kathy said, we had our dance last Saturday. That was our first ever Someone Special dance for Lower L and Upper L. And it was really wonderful. The children and the students and the parents had a great time. So thank you for everyone who made that happen. Jared, for letting me text you at the late night, telling you we were locking up. I appreciate it. It was a really big hit, and we had a lot of calls to do it again. So if you like it, we have an event feedback form. If you have any ways to make it better next year, we've got that link up on our PTO Owls page, or it's in the newsletter from this Tuesday. Of community building activities coming up, like always. Next Tuesday at 8 o'clock is our Zoom meeting. And the link again is on our PTO Owls page. So it's at 8 p.m. So hopefully anybody who has sports or work, hopefully everybody can make it. A word to anybody on the call. It does count as one of your volunteer hours to go to a meeting. So come, let your voice be heard. We're open for any comments. We do have a Parent Connect series that we're doing, which is just a series of fun events for the parents to get to know each other, or guardians, or whatever role you have in your student's life. So we're going to be doing that next Thursday. It's a free event at Oakland Nature Preserve. Join us for a little hike at 9 a.m. It's going to be hosted by our PTO secretary, Megan. So you guys can meet her and go for a nice walk, maybe see some great nature. After that, on date is TBD. So it's either March 3rd or maybe March 4th. If we could get a Friday, we're having a free PTO movie night. So we're going to be showing our documentary, Love in Action. We're really excited about that. And then we're also going to be showing Super Pets. There'll be concessions and you can order pizza. If you want a whole pizza for your whole family, you can order that in advance if you'd like, but the attendance is free. So bring your lawn chairs out under the stars. Join us for a really fun movie night. Then we have a spirit night coming up at Chipotle on March 7th. And then our final event for March is our Parent Connect, another one. And we have a private party at Once Upon a Creation. So you can build one of those boards, have a glass of wine. You could even add on like a little snack plate for yourself. And you could even make a creation with your or someone special. So that could be a fun evening out. And then the last thing I wanted to talk to everybody about is we are in the midst of planning our Spring Arts Festival, formerly known as Artico. So we've got a lot of great things lined up. We've got food trucks and bounce houses. We've got a DJ. We have a performer. And then we're working with all of our special teachers to help do something for each of the specials to present. So it's going to be a really great event. We are looking for sponsors. So if you have a business that is looking to sponsor this event, we have 3 tiers of sponsorship. So please feel free to reach out to me if you want to sponsor the art festival. Again, it's going to be free for everyone to attend the festival, but brought on by our sponsors. And there'll be all sorts of fun activities there. More to come on that, but that's going to be our big event. And again, the date on that is April 1st, and it's going to be from 10 in the morning until 2 p.m. And I think that gives you all the updates, just a few little fun things happening for us.
Just a few.
Sarah, you just do a great job. Thank you. Really, it's been great this year.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the someone special dance was a hit. We absolutely enjoyed it. I don't know who secured the Cloud9 berry truck, but those bubble waffles were like the real deal. So thank you, Sarah, for bringing those into our life.
He's going to be there at, she just confirmed for our Spring Arts Fest. So if you want to indulge again, you know, save up that cheat
will.
day.
Gladly. Thank you. Delicious.
Very cool.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay. All right, I think that's all of our big updates from our speakers. Anything from a committee perspective that we want to talk about? We covered our hiring stuff from executive director. We covered the
building stuff.
We covered the board member vote.
Finance.
And that's been completed. So anything else?
Kevin and I are still moving along with the governance committee, and so we met just to like kind of get our brains together a little bit and outline some of the work that we're going to be doing. So I'm excited. We're moving in a great direction. I've been doing a lot of deep digging into old minutes and trying to just line up all the policies so that we can make this document make sense for everybody. Anything else you wanted to say, Kevin?
No, I think that sums it up. You're right. It started with just getting together a couple of times to figure out what all we needed to do. But Patrice has been quite a archival researcher over the past few days and weeks and has found a lot of stuff that will be helpful when we're getting organized here. So more to
Oop, I think we
I
lost
think you
him.
wrapped him up. More to come is I think what he said.
More to come. Just a quick thought with that. I don't know where, you know, the things that we compile are going to live. I mean, some of that may live in our internal sites, but there is that space out there on the board docs. If there is anything that we think that we want to place out there, it can be public or it cannot be public. But if we want to utilize anything through board docs to manage anything, that is an option.
I think it would be great. And, you know, I could see like what Kevin and I have been talking about is there's probably going to be like 4 different manuals for different purposes. And some things will definitely have some of the same, you know, policies or processes, you know, in the same document, but, you know, have a different reason. So I certainly could see that would be a good use of that, you know, just as we're updating policies, it would always just live there. You know, board policies would always just live there.
Yeah, like maybe it's the final version or, you know, I mean, you're going to have your working documents, but then you always know that, you know, you place on this site is the current most updated or something.
Yeah.
Like that. So, and then you can link to that information from other places if you need to. So. Okay. We can further explore that as we need to. So.
All right. Over to me.
Okay.
Well, I think as we kind of wrap up this evening and then looking at our goals for the year, you know, one of those is to hire our first goal is to hire an executive director. I think we are in a good place with starting that search and continuing that process. I just fully attribute that successful start to Patrice and thank her greatly for all of her additional work and time to make sure that we put somebody in there who is going to be amazing for our school. And then looking at the next goal that we had was to add a 7th board member. Thank you, Marissa, for checking another goal off of our list tonight. So we do appreciate it and kind of looking at that, more of that succession planning. And I think we have it absolutely kind of moved forward in that time frame. So as we look for the remaining few months of the school year, I think that's when we as a board, we're going to need to look a little bit more in that long-term planning piece and spend a little bit time kind of focusing on that last goal that we really had for this year to kind of wrap up our school year with that. But super appreciative of everybody's just collaboration and included support for this amazing school. And I'm super excited that we can consolidate to one charter. I think that will be a very important step for our convergence of these schools, so that we keep that identity and that true heart of Montessori on the same page. So I think that's a big success for us and the school moving forward. And with that, I have 7:43, so we will go ahead and adjourn.
Boom.
So have a wonderful,
Thank you, everyone.
yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.